The last time a piece of media stuck with me like obsession, it was The Fox, a 1922 novella about two women who live on a farm and the one man who fucks their shit up. Despite its publication 103 years earlier, The Fox captured the same existential fear that has haunted my 20s that Obsession did. Spoilers ahead, inherently, and a content warning for discussions of sexual abuse. Obsession, I'm sure you've heard, is about a man, Bear, who makes a wish for the woman he loves, Nikki, to love him more than anyone in the fucking world. I will acknowledge that he did not believe the wish would work, and that is the only redeeming point he gets from me. It soon becomes obvious that the real Nikki is stuck inside a body and mind that she has no control over. Bear becomes gradually more aware that the real Nikki is captive in her own body, dropping absolute clangers along his journey to realization. I don't want to cancel the wish, I just want to alter it. And what would be so bad about being with me? The latter after Nikki begs him for the sweet release of death. The Fox is about two women, Banford and March. Nearing the ripe old age of 30, with no marriage prospects on the horizon, they have resigned to the fact that they are never going to find husbands and might as well live together on a farm. Kind of a dream, actually. Suddenly, a man. Henry arrives under the impression that his grandfather still owns the land. Concerned that there will be no room in town, the women let him stay. He makes himself comfortable. March is uneasy but strangely drawn to him. Henry decides he wants the farm and becomes obsessed with the idea of marrying March to get it. He's quickly convinced that he's actually deeply in love with her. March eventually agrees to marry Henry, albeit with the energy of someone who's just been guilted into working a weekend shift on their birthday. Henry leaves the farm for a while, giving March a minute to realize that she's already living her best life. She calls off the engagement. "It is all a great mistake," she writes. Furious and blaming anyone but himself, Henry destroys everything March cares about and marries her in the midst of her grief. As we depart, March is fighting for just a crumb of identity, and Henry is romantic as ever. He wanted her to commit herself to him, and to put her independent spirit to sleep. He wanted to take away from her all her effort, all that seemed her very raison d'etre. He wanted to make her submit, yield, blindly pass away out of all of her strenuous consciousness. He wanted to take away her consciousness and make her just his woman. Just his woman. Both stories tap into the same tragedy. When a man decides you're his, you don't get to be anything else. Before the wish, we already know that Bear does not care about what Nikki wants. We see him try to convince her to stay at her job, which allows him proximity to her, instead of pursuing her dreams. After the wish, every choice he makes is rooted in preserving the image of the relationship, without consideration for the horror Nikki is experiencing. More dramatically, Henry is willing to break March down to nothing if it means he wins her. Both men are fundamentally confused between love and possession. Neither of these would have landed so heavily with me if they hadn't echoed my own life. One of the more formative relationships in my 20s saw me change my mind about everything I wanted out of life, because I felt so broken down that aligning my dreams to his just felt easier. Maybe I did want 2.5 kids after all, and a mortgage in a commuter town, and a ring to represent the stability and predictability that I couldn't give myself anymore. There's nothing wrong with those things, but wanting them was wrong for me. That breakup finally came when he asked me to choose between him and my friends. He made a rookie error in doing so while I was on a skiing holiday with said friends. I tried to explain that loving someone surely meant wanting them to be happy even if you're not together, and he said something to the effect of course it's not, if you love someone you want to be with them. Again, fundamental confusion. I don't think he was some evil possessive menace, he was just a man who felt entitled to something. Bear felt so entitled to Nikki that he did not question the red flags that something was off, let alone could not understand why she was in such distress. Henry felt so entitled to March that he made himself the only thing left in her life, and again, could not understand why she wasn't thrilled just to be with him. Every day, in real life, someone feels so entitled to a woman that 80% of women report having experienced street harassment, and 1 in 3 will experience sexual or physical violence, and many men do not seem to understand why we're not grateful for the attention. My aforementioned ex even did not understand why he did not have consent in perpetuity simply by virtue of being my boyfriend. Had he been my husband, the law would have agreed with him until 1991. 1991 is not a typo. It might feel like a stretch to connect an old book and a viral movie to these real-life statistics, but entitlement remains the common thread. When someone feels entitled to you, it does not even cross their mind that they might be doing something wrong. We don't question the things we expect. There is a moment, as the fox comes to a close, in which a female character described as safely dead. It was a thought I'd had before. You grow up thinking that there will probably come a day you're safe at last, and you'll look back and realize that you don't remember the last time you felt unsafe. Then you read about how it happens to wives and care home residents and grandparents, and you realize that maybe the only safety is death. And then you realize that even then, you're only safe from having to live through it. The consequences of entitled men perforate our lives. The onus seems to have fallen on women to protect ourselves, but there's truly nothing we can do to stay safe from becoming the object of entitlement. I speak about men from my own direct experience, but entitlement, I'm sure, comes from all angles. With this said, it's hard to deny the pervasive culture of ownership over women that underlies the fox and still lingers in obsession. It never went away, it just adapted to the times. As we see our bodily autonomy called into question and rolled back, as tech leaders develop tools that make it easier than ever to digitally strip us of our clothes and dignity, as websites dedicated to teaching men how to abuse us more effectively gain tens of millions of visits per month, it's little wonder a film about the way a man behaves when he feels entitled to a woman became such a phenomenon. Nikki represented independent women in 2025. She was autonomous, tough, self-assured. March, too, was autonomous, tough, and self-assured in 1922. Women have always been these things. It seems men have always seen it as a challenge. Before I go, I hate to not all men you, but I do prefer to be an optimist. There have been times they have been on my side, and times they have chosen the best for me even when it wasn't easy for them. I don't think people are all good or all bad, but some are certainly more aware of the difference between good and bad, or between love and possession. I do hope things change. I hope that in another 103 years we can look back on obsession and wonder what it must have been like to be so collectively afraid of losing our autonomy that it broke box office records. I hope that there isn't another version of me in 2129 watching a 103-year-old obsession and feeling the same shock and awe that I did when a 103-year-old The Fox reflected the most persistent narratives of my 20s back at me. If she is there, I hope she at least feels that she is loved, safe, and free. And women, what goal can any woman conceive except happiness? Just happiness for herself and the whole world. That and nothing else. And so she assumes the responsibility and sets off towards her goal. She can see it there, at the foot of the rainbow. Or she can see it a little way beyond, in the blue distance. Not far, not far. But the end of the rainbow is a bottomless gulf down which you can fall forever without arriving, and the blue distance is a void pit which can swallow you and all your efforts into its emptiness and still be no emptier. You and all your efforts. So the illusion of attainable happiness. Poor March, she had set off so wonderfully towards the blue goal, and the farther and farther she had gone, the more fearful had become the realization of emptiness. An agony, an insanity at last. She was glad it was over. She was glad to sit on the shore and look westwards over the sea and know the great strain had ended. She would never strain for love and happiness any more. And Jill was safely dead. Poor Jill, poor Jill. It must be sweet to be dead. Somebody wants to say hello before I do. You saying hi? Oh, that's so nice. Uh-huh. That little reading was actually from my Substack, which is new, and I'm publishing it under my professional name, so let's all just not mention that. Yes, ma'am? Okay, so that post is my first post, and it is called The Fox Obsession and Suffocating Under Male Entitlement. And if you would like to read it, if you enjoyed it, if you are also on Substack, if you're also on Substack, come and say hi, please. I don't really know what I'm doing there, but I'm having a lot of fun, and I don't have anyone. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't, go home. If you didn't like it, I don't want to know. Just kidding. No, I'm not kidding. Well, you know what? why don't we all just get on with our day? I'm actually going to be late to the next thing that I have to do, so I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me just upload like once a year and then dip again. I write all the time. Writing is my job, and I'm looking forward to doing it a little more on my Substack and putting stuff out there under my own name a little bit more. So if you want to follow, you can just subscribe to me here. I think I'll keep uploading them like this, but we'll see. But if you want to make absolutely sure you don't miss anything, then go subscribe to the Substack. Woohoo! I'll link it below. Okay, bye! It seems men have always seen it as a challenge. Yeah? What do you think?